Konnichiwa. Good morning, everyone. This is Lori Sagawa, and I am so happy to be here with you today so you can learn about how to make your legacy a home run. And I chose to talk about Ichiro, and I even have my popcorn here to bring in the atmosphere. And I'm also recording from my home in the Pacific Northwest. I am without a computer at the moment, but it doesn't matter. I'm making do with my iPad. So I'm so happy to have you. And whether you're watching it live or you're watching it past, in the recording that we will be sending out to you, I want to welcome you and thank you for coming. Ichiro is somebody famous, and I thought we would bring somebody contemporary into our conversations. So next. In case you don't know me, I'm Lori Sagawa. I'm the farmer's daughter from Woodland, Washington. Yes, I used to get my hands dirty all the time and hoeing and raking and working in the rain. But, all of that taught me so much about seed time and harvest. And if you don't plant seeds of greatness, you're not going to reap a harvest of greatness. So no matter where you are, if you're just starting out new or starting on some new venture, new idea, a new career, it doesn't matter. You start planting those seeds every day, just little by little, to get better. And that is a need to cut that out too, Anil. That is a teaching from the Japanese culture called Kaizen, and it's constant improvement. And the constant improvement is you work every day and just work a little by little, and you will see a greater harvest. So I grew up in the 60s, so that dates me, teased, bullied, and even racial prejudice, because it was after the war. People were still thinking about World War II and what the Imperial Japan had done, and they associated me with it. In fact, they said, it's your relatives that started the war in World War II. And so that was a lot of weight on these little young shoulders. I thought, I didn't have anything to do with it, but, it was very hurtful because they kicked, punched, and even were very cruel to me. But what I want to do is just share with you how to overcome that kind of situation and turn your pain into gain, make lemonade out of lemons, which I did. I'll be sharing that with you, and make your life count. That is one of the goals, is to have your life be memorable. What are you good for? And helping you find what is your secret sauce, what is your special gift to the world. And so after high school, I went to college and learned about the Japanese language, because I wanted to know what my parents were saying behind me. They would talk, and I could figure out a few words like okane means money, and baka means maybe not up so much upstairs, and takai means too expensive. And so I was mentored by a woman in the Tacoma Art Museum after college, and she told me, Lori, you should go to Japan. You would find it really helpful, and you're more Japanese than you realize. So my husband and I did. And we went to a historical procession known as a Jidai Matsuri, and that's in Kyoto, Japan. It only happens once a year, but over 2,000 people dressed in period attire. And I saw this woman, and her name was Tomoeko's Zen, and I didn't even realize there were female samurai warriors. My husband John took this photograph, and it's one of my favorite photographs of Japan. And you notice that she has a long naginata, and that is a sword that the females use. And she lived from 1157 to 1247. And I brought her up also as she left a legacy, living 90 years way back when, almost 1,000 years ago. That was quite a long time. And even today, that's a long life. That's a good long life. And that was one of the first days is we saw that parade, that procession. I call it parade, but it really is a procession. In Japan, they are very solemn, they're educational, they're beautiful and historical. next. And so we met my father's relatives, the Sagawa, and they gave us a copy of this family crest, and it's called a kamon. And you'll see three stylized swords that look a little pointed, and then three images that look like hearts, but they're actually leaves from the katabami plant. And I didn't realize the significance of it until much later in my life. And so I said, "Oh, domo arigato gozaimasu. Thank you very much." And we packed our bags and left back for the United States, and with all the memories of being in Japan, because it was amazing to see so many people that looked like me but didn't talk like me or act like me, but they had the black hair and the facial features. So I kind of blended in, but I didn't. They knew I was American. So next. So what happened was I really retreated into myself after 2005 and 2007. I was rear-ended twice and had traumatic brain injury reading at a seventh grade level. So I decided to look into my background and find out where are the answers. So at that time, I'd raised a family and I was injured. Half of my body felt like it was so injured it wasn't attached to the first. But the second accident in 07, I couldn't read, I couldn't think straight. I knew something was wrong with me, and find out that yes, I did have mild traumatic brain injury because it was a closed head injury, reading at a seventh grade level, and I was a mess. I just didn't know what to do with my life, and so that's why I started researching. And as I researched, I realized that the samurai lived by a code of ethics, and I wrote about that. And in 2015, my book was self-published. 16, it was on Amazon, and then 18, I signed a contract with Tuttle Publishing. So it's now an international book, and I'm so happy and proud and thankful that I had that opportunity. And so the book now is called Let the Samurai Be Your Guide, and it has the Code of Bushido in it, and I'll be sharing about that a little bit later. But what's amazing about that is you turn your pain into gain. And now when I finished that book and I wrote every day, whether it was 15 minutes or an hour, I knew, yes, that samurai spirit, it's in me, because that crest that I showed earlier is a samurai crest from feudal Japan. So next. This is the code of ethics that the samurai live by. I'd be happy to send that to you. And it's a great thing to download, print, and then frame, because it's a reminder of how we should live our lives. Good morals never go out of style. So it entails courage, integrity, benevolence, respect, honesty, honor, and loyalty. So next. And that is samurai wisdom. Bushido is made of two words, bushi and do. It's the way of the warrior. And this code of ethics that they live by, they were willing to pledge their sacred honor and their lives to uphold the code of Bushido. Bushido. And then samurai comes from the verb samaru from Japan, and it's to serve. So the original purpose of the samurai were to serve their lords, their masters, whoever they were serving. And it could be a village, it could be a larger village, it could be the daimyo, whatever it is. That was your lot in life, shall we say. And samurai, you couldn't, after the 1600s, you couldn't say, I want to be a samurai. It is part of the bloodline. And they say about 10% of the population is samurai. But unfortunately, in the 1860s, during the Meiji Revolution, the swords were taken away. So the samurai no longer had the position of being protectors. So they found other means of employment. But I believe that samurai spirit is samurai ethics. I believe is Ichiro Suzuki is an example, that a contemporary example. He came from Japan, born in, he was born on October 7th. I'm sorry. Continue, because I feel this message is so important for today, because so many people, wouldn't you say that people are looking for a leader? And in order to and in America for 18 years. So when he retired, he was in his 40s, and his numbers were just amazing. And we're going to show a clip about him briefly, but I just wanted to give you a little bit of background about Ichiro, and then play the video. And then after the video, I'll speak a little bit more about his life and how he didn't just come to be a great baseball player overnight. He did that every day, and I will share the statistics with you after the video. So if you could play that video now, that would be great.
Trying to become the first position player to come over from Japan. Ground ball up the middle into center field, a base hit. Ichiro with his first hit in the major leagues. A ground ball back up the middle to get things going here in the bottom half of inning number 7. And that's going to be a very special souvenir for the young man from Japan. Ground ball, base hit into right field. Heading for third is Terrence Long. The throw by Ichiro. Beautiful. Peggy got him. Holy smoke, a laser beam strike from Ichiro to the third baseman, David Bell, and Terrence Long is gunned down at third base. What a throw. 2 outs.
The Indians have only 3 hits, all singles, and there's a drive to deep right field. This ball is gone. Ichiro Suzuki into his own bullpen.
Boy, what a night this guy is in. His 4th straight hit.
This is outside. I want consistency. Line drive right field. Ichiro traps the ball, throws the second, and it is in time to get Chavez. Ichiro raced in, trapped the ball on the hop, and he fires a strike to Rich Aurelia in time to get Endy Chavez. And what a play by Ichiro.
Here's the pitch by Effeld on the way. Swung on, fly ball hits a deep center field. Back on the ball is De Jesus. There's number 200, and it will fly away. So Ichiro has number 200 in the books, and historic hit. The first man in Major League history to have 200 home runs in his first 4 years in the Major Leagues.
So he has 1,999 professional hits. Back up the middle, and there is number 2,000. Ichiro hoping to get something going here in the bottom of the 5th inning. His second hit tonight, and number 2,000 in his professional career. What a milestone for Ichiro.
And a ground ball back up the middle, and there it is. He's a new all-time hit king in Major League history, number 258. My, oh my! And with misty eyes, there is George Sisler's daughter clapping for the new hit champion of all time. Ichiro with 258 hits. It didn't take him long, did it?
And Dave, he's going over and congratulating her and showing his appreciation for her attending tonight's game.
One of the great moments in baseball history right here.
Well hit right field. Ichiro going back to the one. He tracked to the wall, leaps up, and he makes the catch. Holy smokes, Ichiro climbing the wall in right field. Over the top of the fence, and he brings it back. Ichiro puts a foot on the wall, jumps high in the air, and he robs Garrett Anderson of a home run. Holy smokes, what a catch by Ichiro in right field.
It's gone.
Here's a shot into deep right field. Back at the wall. Ichiro hits it off the wall. It takes a weird carom, and Ichiro may circle the bases. In to score is Roberts. Here comes Ichiro. Inside the park home run.
A rare inside the park home run in an all-star game.
We're checking how rare that is.
Couple of Hall of Famers going head-to-head. There's a drive. Deep right field. Going back, switcher. Ichiro has beaten Mariano Rivera with a 2-run game-winning home run. Mariners win it 3-2. Ichiro put it in play. They come home, throws it away. So Ichiro with a base hit. He's now the franchise leader.
But no one in baseball has accomplished it 10 consecutive seasons in a row.
There it is. Right on cue. Wilson stops at second. Ichiro has just amassed 200 hits for the 10th consecutive time in his career.
And that deserves a standing ovation as well. Again, another special moment here this afternoon. Anybody with 200 hits in 10 consecutive seasons is an amazing feat.
For the final time coming off a major league field. $46,451 here tonight at the Tokyo Dome, and who knows how many watching around the world.
This is emotional.
You can go to the next slide. And if you listen to the video or watch the video, you can see how he was very Japanese. You saw him bowing, you saw him being humble. And one thing that comes across to me is his work ethic, and we'll continue to talk about that. But right now I'm going to speak about the principles of Bushido and the Japanese culture. And one is Ikigai. Ikigai is your reason for being. And it comes from Okinawa, Japan, over 795 years, about 1,000 years old. And it's finding your purpose in life. And there's intersection of what you're good at, what the world needs, what you can be paid for. And those intersections will intersect, and that will be your Ikigai. And I have teachings on that. I'm going to be doing a master class and also a challenge. And I'm hoping that you will be on my email list so that you can learn more about the challenge and what I'll be teaching in my master class. So Ikigai is the fourfold, and that's when they intersect, and you will find your reason for being, your purpose in life, because that's so important. Many people are misguided and they don't know what they're doing, and they walk or live their life aimlessly without knowing what they're good at, what the world needs, what they can get paid for. And so they just go through life, and sometimes they end up in a place where I was working, and that's called the prison. I worked in the women's prison for over 10 years, and I worked with women that really didn't know what their purpose in life was. And I just taught a live class, so we would go over my book, and I would find women that were very interested in knowing what their purpose was. And I just encourage them, you have everything here. It may not be the best of circumstances, but you have you have a roof over your head, you have health care, you have food. And so now is a great time to get your skills, get your GED, take classes, And if they got a little testy with me, I am Japanese American, and my parents were incarcerated during World War II. And I would tell them what they went through, but they committed no crime. I didn't come down heavy on them because I wanted to uplift them, but just to realize that, life was not easy for my parents and my grandparents. And I share about that, but not with malice. I just share with that, even though they lived there, they made the most of it. They had community, they got their education, they raised, and I know in Minidoka, they were almost self-sufficient because they had to do their own vegetables and they raised chickens and cows. And so there's so much you can do there, no matter where you are in life, no matter what your circumstances are. And maybe you have a person has a physical handicap. Well, I've seen people without arms and legs that live amazing lives. They go around the world and they share hope to people that have no hope or just need to be inspired. So they have found their ikigai amidst having a physical handicap. And me, I had a physical handicap for a bit because I couldn't think, I couldn't read, but I was determined to get out of that situation. And had I given up, I wouldn't be here with you today. And Yuki is another part of Kodo that I think about people that do great things in life is that they have the courage. It's knowing your purpose and end, but knowing that there could be downfalls, there could be roadblocks, but you continue going. Just like with me, I was rear-ended twice right after we returned from Japan, but I was determined to work through this, and I'm working through that, going to the chiropractor, have other kinds of appointments in order to get better, because I'm not quitting. I am not quitting, and I will work as long as I can because I absolutely love sharing the Kodo Bushido, because that which I scorned, I now embrace. Make lemonade out of lemons, and you can catch more flies with honey than you can vinegar. So always be kind. Be kind. That is one thing that I love to share, is that you have to be kind in order to have friends and make it in this world. And it can soothe over it says love covers a multitude of sins. And so using love, acting in love, and making love your determination, you will come out higher. And then at the end is Gambaru. Gambaru is the Japanese philosophy of never giving up, never ever giving up. And then not only not giving up, finishing to the end. And that's what I did when I was overcoming traumatic brain injury. And it took over 8 years to recover, but I did it. I'm so glad I did. And I teach and encourage other people, don't give up. Because if you give up, it's easy to give up. It's harder to keep going. But with that determination, you will make it. And it doesn't matter what age you are. I remind people of the Colonel, who's a good example. Colonel Sanders was using his retirement check to promote his Kentucky Fried Chicken. And now it is an international phenomenon, and it's very popular in Japan. At Christmas time, they celebrate Christmas with Kentucky Fried Chicken and a Christmas cake. And I was thinking, well, they wouldn't do it with turkey because turkeys are too large for their ovens, and they just don't entertain a lot in their own homes. A lot of times they eat out. That's why it's so popular in Japan. Speaking of Japan, I love to go to Japan. I've been there, I think 14 times, and it is a great time to go now. If that's on your bucket list, make plans to go. The dollar is strong. And so when we would eat out, I could eat a very, very nice meal for $10 and a very fancy meal for $20. And of course, it's higher than that. But you can eat and travel very reasonably in Japan. It's safe, it's clean, it's interesting, can be crowded, but there's so many things to do in Japan, and they are waiting for the tourist, and they're so kind to their tourist. In fact, I also lead tours to Japan. We just came back in May. So that is the end of my about Ikigai, courage, and Kodo Bushido and Gambaru. And so I want to tell you, never, ever give up. But before I do that, I just wanted to share with you about Ichiro. He was born on October 22nd, 1973. And this is a new word for me, mononymously as Ichiro. Ichiro means one. So he is number one. And instead of putting his last name on his jersey, he was the first one to put his first name on the back of his journey. Is known as Ichiro, and Ichiro is so famous in Japan. If people write to Ichiro in Japan, it goes right to him because people know him. And his success did not come easily. I just would like to share about, you heard about all of his amazing awards, but his background was quite different. He grew up in Toyoyama, which is near Nagoya, and he joined his first baseball team at the age of 7. But every day, 365 days a year, mainichi, every day, he threw 50 pitches. He fielded 50 infield balls and 50 outfield balls, hitting 500 pitches, 250 from a machine and 250 from his father. So his success did not come. He wasn't a golden spoon. He didn't with a golden spoon in his mouth, and he didn't just happen to stumble on that. He worked for it, and his hard work paid off. He's legendary. And sometimes he thought his father thought it was great, but he thought it was a little bit like Star of the Giants. That's an anime and manga game. Can you imagine going out if it was cold and having to do that every day, never having a day off? But he did it, and it really paid off for him. And he played in Japan for 9 years, and then he came to the United States. And after that, the rest is history. But he also led a life that was very philanthropic, and he was kind. As you saw him, and his players loved him. They always talk about what a example he was. He came before practice, and he stretched out, and he always was there encouraging other people. In fact, he speaks English very well, but he also learned Spanish because he had Spanish Latino co-players. So he would learn how to speak Spanish so that he could speak with them. He was exemplary. He just was an amazing man. And I don't know, I just wanted to share that with you because you too have a gift that's just as great as his. Because how do we measure one gift against another? And some people may be more famous and wealthier, but every person's lot in life is different. And I say sometimes, the janitor at the hospital, if they don't do their job, people can get staph infection and die. Or the CNA at the hospital, they could be giving you the wrong dosage at the wrong time. A case in point, when my mother was in the hospital and she was diabetic, they gave her regular Jello and regular 7-Up, and both of those are very high in sugar, and so she shouldn't have either one of them. So we had to be there at the hospital to kind of monitor, make sure that she's being taken care of. And actually in our own lives, we can do that every day. We can improve every day. We can set goals. We can have an accountability partner. We can be part of a mastermind or a group. And I'm part of several groups that help me a lot become my best, because that's my goal. Even though I'm a middle child, I'm not the high achiever, the A-type personality. I'm the middle child, and usually middle children want to stay in the background and not be seen, not be heard, don't make ruffles, don't do the confrontational thing. But I was faced with this situation where I had to speak up, and I'm glad I did. Took Toastmasters, and after Toastmasters, I found my voice, and I love speaking. I love encouraging people so much. And that's what I'm here on earth to do, is to share, especially about my Japanese background. And there's so much wisdom that is from Japan. So I say that I stand on the shoulders of my samurai ancestors, sharing the ancient wisdom of Japan with you, however you need it. So with that, I'm going to sign off, and we can have questions and answers, but I don't want to do that for the recording, so we can stop the recording. And here's my contact information. Lori at Lori Whaley, and my website, and let the samurai be your guide, and I have a samurai community. So now with that, I'm just going to say thank you very much. Domo arigato gozaimasu. Thank you for being here, and I hope to see you again. Bye.